Once again, we are talking about League. And we're talking about today is honestly probably the most obvious topic currently going around about the newest update for League of Legends. That being the newest character coming out for League, Akshan. Now, there's no real point in me going on and on about Akshan. Honestly, you've already seen other YouTubers talk about it, you've already seen the clickbait, you've already seen the fucking atrocities that this character is doing, but I will just quickly, briefly go over it. Right now, Riot is making a new ADC, except he's made for the mid lane. The character is a Sentinel of Light, which is going on with the whole story arc with the Sentinels of Light versus Viego and everything. Akshan is meant to be played in the mid lane, having unique abilities that have a bit more utility than most ADCs lately, and having a passive that revives teammates if you killed the actual enemy character that currently just killed your teammates within a certain amount of time. But this is what we're actually discussing. We're actually discussing why Riot has actually decided to make more ADCs the way of Akshan rather than traditional ADCs. So what do I mean when I actually say traditional ADC? Traditional ADC being a character that is meant specifically for the bot lane. Most usually in Season 10 and Season 11, ADCs are actually being flexed in more different locations. They've always been top, but they're actually becoming more powerful and more of a smart choice to be placed in top and even mid lane. But ADCs have mostly been designed for the bot lane. So let's actually take a look at the characters Riot has made recently. The characters released in 2011 so far have been Viego, Gwen, and Dr. Mundo finally got his rework. So we've actually got no new ADCs in Season 11. ADCs actually have the tiniest champion pool out of any role in all of League of Legends. But as for traditional ADCs, the last ones that Riot has actually designed have been Samira, Aphelios, and Senna. So these have been the most recent ADCs that Riot has made, and this is over the span of about 3 years. In the course of 3 years, we have seen a lot of champions and a lot of champion reworks. But by far, ADCs have seen the fewest new champions released and reworked. In fact, the only real rework we got for ADC was Ezreal's visual update. So why is Riot avoiding making new ADCs, and why is Riot trying to actually circumvent this by making ADCs in other roles? Well, the real issue actually comes down to is that ADCs are actually really fucking hard to make. Despite the fact that ADCs are actually pretty simple in their actual gameplay, the fact that they are supposed to stay as safe as they can and actually deal as much damage as physically possible, as they do have the highest damage, theoretically, in the game, and the lowest health, theoretically, in the game, everything seems pretty basic. The real issue really comes, though, with the actual design of everything else. A lot of characters have a lot of different designs and unique mechanics to them, where ADCs really stay pretty bare bones, honestly. Now, I am not saying that these characters are not busted. God, no. But at the end of the day, they do have one major thing about them. If the design of the character is always going to be staying the same, do as much damage as physically possible, what can you really add? Because if you add too much to a character, they tend to not go into the exact role that they're intended to, and they actually end up causing problems. Seraphine was meant to be a mid laner, but she was way better as a support. Pyke was meant to be a support before he started absolutely terrorizing top and mid lane. Viego was meant to be a jungler, Set was supposed to be a top laner, and yada yada. Riot has a very hard time of actually having characters go where they're actually meant to, and Riot actually has a very hard time balancing the game. Now, huge disclaimer, this game is very fucking hard to balance. No shit. Riot has done a very lackluster job of balancing the game. If an ADC definitely does way too much damage or just has so much utility, they can completely carry a game, hence the name carry. So a very problematic thing is not giving them too much. Another thing is, though, you have to actually give them something unique so they actually stand apart from other characters. And there's always an expectation to actually design characters that are way more interesting than previous other characters. Then there's the fact that Riot has actually said and gone on record to actually state that they would like to make new characters as strong as physically possible upon release, so they actually get a high play rate upon release. Let's take a look at the last two traditional ADCs Riot has made, Aphelios and Samira. Aphelios was by far one of the most overpowered characters Riot has made in years, and is actually the character that actually started the meme 200 years. I really do not think I need to go on and on about this character. The next character being Samira, which we've all seen Samira. We've seen the extreme stuff this character can pull up, and we've also seen the insanity that her ban rate was when she first came out. Having a move that stops projectiles, having an ult that can reset, having so much healing, having so much knockups, the character was insane. So it seems that Riot is very hesitant about making new ADCs. Are they going to stop making ADCs? No. It is very hard to design a new ADC when the objective of the ADC is to do as much damage as possible, but they can't be busted off the face of the planet. It's very, very difficult. So that is a lot of problems with ADCs. So what can Riot really do to fix this? The only way to actually fix ADCs is by completely fixing the entire game itself. Riot has currently tried to fix ADCs in the past by reworking all crit items to try and make them more balanced. Didn't work. Honestly, the best way for Riot to actually go about fixing ADCs or making a new ADC more feasible and not absolutely completely busted is actually lowering the damage of everything currently in the game. Now, that sounds insanely overdramatic, but right now in Season 11, there is just way too much damage in the game. Right now in Season 11, everything is way too high in damage. If someone gets ahead, it is extremely severely actually hard to combat this, especially with the amount of damage right now. Damage needs to be lower, so ADCs do not completely and utterly take over a game if they do get ahead. Or any lane in particular. The damage in Season 11 is way too high, and ADCs need the damage to actually be less so they can actually be the ones that do the most damage in the game. This is probably the most beneficial way to actually make ADCs and honestly every other lane more fun. Probably. But please leave comments down below and tell me what you thought. This is just my opinion. I love to hear your opinion. But anyways, thank you for watching. Please go check Twitter. Please go check Twitch. And just remember, Ninja can foreclose your house.